you guys, everybody, for joining. As we know, AI is here, and it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. If anything, it's just going to continue to grow. I want to thank Ryan, who is one on our board of directors, and who I think really is kind of ahead of the game with AI and kind of looking for new technologies and things like that that are out there. He saw, I believe, Anton, you give a presentation at a CAR meeting, and so we wanted to bring it to you guys. Let's see. So if you have questions, put them in the chat box. And then if it's relevant to kind of where we are in the presentation, we'll go ahead and ask that question. The other thing is that in August, SCORE is going to be doing a AI certificate program through NAR. And because I'm going to take attendance of who is actually here. And because you guys are actually here and attending, not just signing up, I'm going to send you guys a discount code for that certificate if you want to take it. It is a webinar. It is online. It's a full day, so I'll get you guys information about that as well. And watch for some more AI classes coming. I've got another one I'm putting on the calendar in July as well. So Anton, welcome. You're with Kevin AI. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and then get started. And again, this is interactive. So if you have questions, please do put them in the chat box.
Of course. No. Thank you so much, Jody, and nice to meet everyone. Jody, could you let me know if the presentation is looking okay?
It
And
is there. Yes.
perfect. Awesome. Sorry. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started today. So the topic is obviously the way we see it is a little bit of also, educational seminar. So we're going to talk about Kevin AI as well, but we also, I would like to, as a software engineer and someone who works with AI daily, I would also love to cover just to cover what's going on in the AI industry. So what's happening, what is the latest developments, from my perspective, right? What is some of the takeaways that everybody should get from the evolution of AI, and maybe end the session with some practical advice of what's how to use AI daily. So here's our agenda roughly. I think we'll spend the first 5 minutes just introducing ourselves quickly, myself and my co-founder Catherine. Then we're going to talk briefly about state of AI and what's going on in the industry. There's a lot of things happening, obviously, and I think you've seen a lot of things in the news and on social media. So just to give you like my take on what's going on and what's relevant. Then we spend the bulk of time talking about Kevin AI and how we use AI technology in prospecting, in farming and lead generation. And then we'll just end the session briefly with some of the practical advice that at least I follow in my daily usage of AI tools in coding and programming that we think would be helpful. So just briefly talking about Kevin AI team. So my name is Anton. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Kevin AI. My software engineering background comes from MIT. I got my business degree at Harvard, and prior to starting Kevin AI and some other software ventures, I spent some time at McKinsey doing management consulting. So I think that helps me bridge the gap between the technology and the business needs. And so that's a little bit about me. And here's my co-founder, Catherine.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Yes, my name is Catherine Aronson and I've been a realtor for several years. My passion has always been innovation and technology, and I'm so grateful that I met Anton and we had coffee last year and we came up with that amazing tool called Kevin AI. Or basically Anton came up with that. I just gave some real estate background to him. A little bit about myself. I've been local board director, CR director Vice Chair for Business Technology for California Association of Realtors, NAR Presidential Advisory Group on AI, metaverse, blockchain, and cryptocurrency. I've been chair and vice chair for Global at California Association of Realtors, and right now I'm serving as an educational and scholarship trustee at California Association of Realtors level. So when I first met Anton, I was really fascinated how I, as a realtor, experience all the processes that I have to do by hand, like look up like who is interested, look up the buyer, especially last year with all the lawsuits and litigation and outcome for real estate profession and industry. I was really fascinated how software engineering and AI and Kevin AI can help me in my business instead of like manually looking up like title records and look up like name by name and analyze everything and figure out like the outreach status. AI can basically like relax me and just give me a peace of mind so I can go on a vacation. So basically, like I was thinking about like farming that, as we know, like it takes like a couple of seasons to get the outcome. So farming is one of the hardest thing that I experience in real estate. You have to reach out to 10,000 people in order to get 3% outcome, and you have to farm spring in order to get some outcome in fall, and so forth and so forth. So basically, this idea that Anton have developed into software Kevin AI, it gives like all the farming tools like in one place. So here Anton will talk more in narrative about the software
Yeah.
and the process.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, so just briefly about Kevin AI before we dive into, some other content. So we're intelligent lead generation platform for real estate. So we basically do three things. We use AI to identify prospective home sellers. We automate and personalize outreach across different forms of outreach: email, text, voicemail, physical mail. And then we run farming on autopilot, something that Catherine mentioned. So it could basically, it happens in the background. You don't have to participate in the process. We have been founded in September 24, so we're pretty new, right? So it's a startup as well. We're a software subscription platform, so we offer our services on a subscription basis, and I mean we've been also accepted into Microsoft and Google accelerators that definitely help with to bring our technology stack to some of the best practices. So gonna move on to the next topic, which is the state of AI. Jody, are there any questions that I should answer now, or just move to the
Not
next?
yet. Does anybody have questions before we move on? Okay.
Perfect. So just the state of AI, right? So I mean, there's this one quote that AI won't replace humans, but humans with AI will replace the humans without it, which I think is partially true. In reality, what's happening, AI is replacing humans in a lot of applications already. Like Hollywood is, firing the whole army of transcribers because all of that been automated using AI, so people losing jobs. I'm a software engineer standing in front of you, and 90% of my code is written by AI, and that's a standard. I think Mark Zuckerberg just mentioned it publicly that same happens at Meta. I think at Microsoft, Satya said that the percentage was lower, closer to about 30-40%, just given the old technology stack. So the adoption and the pace of AI is already here. Like, as opposed to, we've had a lot of these technologies that have been hyped up in the last 10 to 20 years. I mean, there's been a lot of buzz about Bitcoin and different applications of it. Some of that, been popular for years and then became less relevant over time. But what AI is different actually, because I already use it right now daily, right? And it automates and accelerates my work 10 by the magnitude of 10x. So I think there's obviously you could disagree with it, you could not like it, but I would really encourage everyone to start using it for even like a daily tasks, daily questions, everything, because the sooner you adopt it, the more used to using it you'll become, and then more competitive you'll be in the long run. Just a practical recommendation. Now, where we stand in AI, right? So again, I think there's a lot of things you might hear on Instagram and social media about AI. People talk a lot about AI agents, ChatGPT and other things. So just to put it into perspective, right? AI and artificial intelligence obviously been in technology for many years, right? When it became popular, it's all started, I think, in November 23. So it's less than 2 years now. But in November 23, the ChatGPT went live. So all of us were able to access ChatGPT, which is putting it in the context of AI is generative AI. So the difference between generative and perception AI is that generative AI can actually generate content. So answer questions, perform content generation, create documents and things like that. So I think end of 23, beginning of 24 is when really generative AI became a mass technology and people started using it. Obviously, different specialties and different backgrounds have different degree of using AI. Like I'm as a software engineer use it a lot more than somebody who is, I don't know, a writer maybe, or a real estate agent, right? So I don't know, but there's obviously a degree of adoption that is different. So we are right now actually moving to a next phase in the cycle, which is from generative AI. People started to adopt and use more of agentic AI. And that's something that's been a buzzword, I think, in the last maybe 5 to 6 months, but evolving very, very fast. So you might have heard about AI agents, AI workers that are replacing your team of people and all those things. That's all related to agentic AI, right? What is different about agentic AI is that it's AI that can perform actions. So generative AI just generates content. So it's question and answer chatbot. You ask a question, you get an answer. Agentic AI is when you give artificial intelligence capability to perform actions on your behalf. It could send emails, create documents, update databases, retrieve data from the payment systems, and so on. And that's, I think 2025 is really a year of agentic AI. So it's getting very, very popular. Enterprises adopting it at scale, especially in the areas of like customer support. Like if you go on, like any bank's website, enter a chat application and ask customer support questions, very, very often you're interacting with AI, not a real human on the back end. And then obviously physical AI. I mean, we already see some aspects of physical AI coming up. Like in Santa Monica, we have, Waymo cars driving around. That's an example of autonomous vehicle, like physical AI present in the real world. But as we believe going forward, this is obviously going to accelerate as well. And so maybe next year, that will be a year of physical AI, or maybe a few years after. We don't know. But from what I've seen so far as a software engineer and someone who works with AI tools, the speed of this evolution is really, really fast. So I'm constantly anxious because I feel like I'm behind. There's a lot of things happening, people coming up with new frameworks and new tools. And so it's really hard for me even to keep up with the speed of development. Quickly, just to recap, so you guys have an understanding of the fundamental difference between generative AI and AI agents. So generative AI is something like ChatGPT, right? That you ask questions, you get answers. AI agents is when they take actions. So, and that increases the power of AI much more, because now you could embed AI into your workflows. You could have AI scan your Google Docs. You could have AI respond on your behalf in your mailbox and those kind of things. And that's when it becomes really powerful and productive and helps you extract much more value out of it than just a simple question answer chatbot type of an application. I think that was all on sort of the state of AI. But before I move to and talk about Kevin AI and how we leverage AI in prospecting, please let me know of any questions on this topic.
No questions from anybody?
Well, that's
Okay.
fine. Good. All right, so now we talk a little bit about Kevin AI and why we use AI. I mean, I would love to start with a little bit of I guess why, right? Why we came up with that idea, why we believe it's useful to real estate agents. So first of all, I was looking at the National Association of Realtors survey recently. I think it came out like a month ago or something. And there was a lot of facts in there, but one that struck me was that, farming is really hard. Like most of people choose their agents based on referrals or based on experience. Like if you worked with someone before, so you're going to go back to the same person. But let's say when we really think about farming, the sort of the white space of people, white space of homeowners, it's really, really hard. Like only a small percentage of homeowners choose agents based on, let's say, any form of outreach, like email, direct contact, phone call, or a mail that you leave in their mailbox, or maybe door knocking, so things like that. So one of the things that strike me was that like this is really hard, right? So and as we know, not a lot of agents have this massive networks of people and 20, 30 years of real estate experience. So for someone especially who is new to the industry, is really, really hard to get business. And so that's why I think something that is hard to do might be prone to a software automation that allows you to do something in scale, so you could replicate yourself multiple times and achieve the greater outcome. So if we just do like a simple math, that something that I was trying also to understand for myself is that basically what the math tells us is that to get one lead, you basically need to reach out minimum to 1,000 people. Well, and the math is fairly simple. So I think the 3% is probability of selling. You all know the turnover rate right now, right? In some markets, it's even worse than 3%. I think in the best times, it was maybe 5 to 6%, right? And then only 6% of those people that, let's say, technically you reach out to and they're interested in selling, they will respond to your outreach because most of them have their network of agents that they work with, or they will ask their friends and family for referral. So what it means, if we just do the math, that in order to generate one high quality lead and one opportunity, you actually at a minimum need to reach 1,000 people. And by reach, I mean not just send an email. You need to make sure that the email got delivered, or that they read your mails that came into their mailbox, or they read your they came across your ad if it's something that you advertised online, right? So again, what it tells me is that this is a scale business. So this is the area where, I mean, in my opinion, it's humanly impossible to manually reach out to 1,000 people. Like it's really hard, right? So that's something that needs to be automated and implemented at scale. And that's why we came up with the idea of Kevin AI, because we saw that a lot of agents are struggling. That's a major pain point for agents, is how do you get leads? Because that's a lifeblood, right? That's how you get your commission and everything. And then at the same time, in order to get leads, especially if you don't have the network and don't have the connections, you have to farm at a significant scale. And so that's why we came up with Kevin AI idea, because that's a software, so it could do it in scale. And why AI is important, because AI can offer immense personalization. So as opposed to leaving, gift cards in the mailbox that are same gift cards for everyone and people just throw them in the trash, you could make it super, super personal, so people feel like you're reaching out and you know their background, you know what the situation is. That's what's good about AI. So that's a little bit of a background. So now a little bit about Kevin AI, like what we do, right? We do three things, basically. One is we uncover prospects. So we use AI and AI agents and algorithms to understand who the prospective home sellers could be, right? And I'll talk more a little bit about in a minute, like what the data sources we use and how it all works. But there's significant intelligence that we deploy to understand out of 1,000 or 10,000 people in your farm who potentially could be selling, right? But we don't stop there. So then the second big part of what we do, we act as an agent on your behalf. So we send emails, we send text messages, leave the voicemails, and then we also have a feature of physical mail, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So we automate the entire outreach. So we identify who potentially might be selling, then we shoot them emails, text messages, send them mail, and then we do it consistently. So we keep your pipeline full, meaning it works like a CRM system, essentially. So we do the follow-ups over time just to make sure that it's like a operating machine that runs in the background. So those are the three things that we do. Now talking a little bit about how we uncover prospects. I mean, there's a lot of data out there, right? And again, the other reason we came up with Kavin AI idea was that well, there's a lot of data, so it's humanly impossible for someone to, digest all that information and at scale, especially, and make sense out of it. So right now we use a myriad of data sources, and this keeps expanding. So we use the title records as a main input to understand, what is your farm, who's the homeowners in your farm that you're looking for. We also have connection to some of the major MLS systems, so we get the latest MLS details for every home in your farm. Then we scan Zillow and Redfin to understand if the houses are on sale, off the market, and what's the latest status is. We perform an industrial level search at scale for every homeowner in your farm. So we go through their LinkedIn pages, social media profiles, everything that is found online. So all aggregators of personal data, any court records that the search engines come up with, any information that we could find to understand who they are, what they do, how old they are, do they live together separate from their home members? Like we have almost 100 different scenarios we're looking for. And that's what AI is good at. Another reason we use AI, and then we kind of started this whole thing in the fall last year, is AI is really good at working with unstructured data. So this whole process is really hard to automate using traditional software because all the data sources are different, information is different, every homeowner is unique. But AI is really good at working with unstructured information, different formats, PDF files, court records, snapshots of like LinkedIn profiles. AI is really multimodal, so it could work with text, images, recordings, and things like that. And so that's why it's really helpful in what we do, is that it could work with all these myriad of data sources to understand who the homeowner is and how likely they might be selling their property. Now, a couple of things that we still to integrating in our tech stack is we'll use AI to listen to dispatch system, so all the 911 dispatch, so the fire, emergencies, criminal cases, things like that, because they're also important when it comes to either selling or deciding to move out of the neighborhood. So if it gets too criminal or too unsafe, or for a lot of people, that's one of the reasons we saw, at least at NAR, they mentioned why homeowners decide to move. We also integrate in construction permits, so looking for that as well, because you may have leads coming from some of the developers or house flipping firms. So we also want to have access to that. We have access to public records, so the court records in LA and San Diego County, but that's something we're also expanding beyond that. So yeah, but this flywheel sort of keeps expanding. The more sources, the better. We don't really care where the information coming from, as soon as it's relevant. The question is like, how do we find relevant information, right? So, and that's where AI is helpful too. So it could understand like how frequently certain data comes in. Let's say a phone number or an email. Like, how do you know if it's valid or not, right? But if it came across in multiple data sources, AI could make a judgment that, hey, listen, this seems to be valid, right? Obviously, we have some validation on top of that, but that's where AI is really helpful. So this is on the, I guess, the data intelligence, right? The platform itself. Now the outreach. So we have 4 tools at our disposal. 2 of them are live, 2 other ones we're working on. So we have the automated email outreach setup. The way we do email is actually a little bit sophisticated. So we create your own personal domain. We link it to your own web page. So let's say if somebody's going to look you up, they're going to come to your page on like Zillow or whatever your brokerage, right? We set up several Gmail accounts for you where the emails are coming from because we want to reach scale. So we want to make sure that we could send, hundreds of emails per day, right? And then every email is written using AI, so it's different for every person. So if you read them, actually, you could see that AI understands the background of every homeowner and then they write a very personalized email in the outreach. And so we keep this email engine running. It also responds to emails when the responses come back and things like that. Now the physical mail. So that's one of the things that, when we look at the state of AI, we saw, generative AI, agentic AI, and then physical AI. So that's one of the things that we adopted as well as part of Kavin AI. We have a physical AI component, which I'm going to show you in a moment. So we actually use AI robots to write handwritten letters. They are pretty much indistinguishable from human writing. We've showed it to all of our agents that work with us, and they were not able to distinguish them from the human handwriting. So they can replicate different fonts. The algorithm randomizes the space between the letters, the space between the sentences. So it looks superhuman. And then the most important thing is that the content itself. So the content of the letter, like the one that you see here, for example, was generated for a specific homeowner who lives at a certain address with all the background about the property, when it was purchased, if it is appreciated in value, and things like that. So when you get an email like this, you could feel like the agent actually looked at your case and is particularly interested in the property that you own. So it does look super personalized. On top of handwriting the letter, we also handwrite the envelope. So the envelope looks handwritten as well. So that's one of the sort of physical AI aspects that we adopted. Now coming back to all the other tools. So the text and messaging feature is something that we're working on. I'm really excited about voicemail as well. So our vision is to have your voice pre-recorded, and so we could replicate it. So having you leave your voicemail messages to, again, hundreds or thousands of homeowners, because basically you don't have to call someone, but you could just leave a voicemail. So that's one of the features that exist. And so that's some of the things that at least I'm excited about trying as well, because AI is getting better at not only text, but voice and video. So multimodal feature is getting getting a lot of development, and that's something that we're excited about trying and implementing in the near future as well. And then just to sum up, so how do we do it at scale? So the AI engine runs 24/7, obviously doesn't sleep. It's always search for new data. The outreach that we talked about, the email and mail are automated. AI also can improve. So the more AI looks at a particular home, the better and richer the information and the level of insights become. So that's something that's also useful when it comes to adopting AI tools and AI agents. So what we offer to agents is right now we have up and running the dashboard. So you get access to all the data and all the statistics that we have for your farm. So this particular example, and I'm going to go to the real dashboard in a minute just to show it. Yeah, it's like 11,000 properties in a farm. Our AI algorithm went through like 3,000 of them, emailed 275 properties just at the time that we were looking at this, right? So, and you will get access to all the data or for every address, property information, all the contact details, records of emails and mails if they were sent out, right? So maybe before I go into other forms of, let me just share an example of a dashboard.
We do have a couple questions.
Go ahead.
I got 3,
Oh,
4.
sure. Awesome.
And I don't know if you'll know this one, but how is this different from the Remax AI product or app from a few years ago?
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not familiar with all the legacy tools. So I'm happy to look it up for you guys and maybe have it as a follow-up, just to see what they do. We've never heard of it before. I'm sorry.
Okay. When using the text feature or phone voicemail, do you scrub them through the do not call database?
Yes, that's something. So those are the features, to be completely honest, right? We're working on, so we're developing them right now, but we are checking against. So it's part of our tech stack is to check against the not call list. Yes.
Okay. Using this AI, we don't need to have a CRM. Is that correct?
Well, it depends on what you guys use your CRM for, right? So this actually acts as a CRM, but for lead generation. So you may still have your own CRM that you use for contacting your network. So let's say, I don't know, there are 100 or whatever homeowners that you worked with in the past. You may still need a CRM to keeps them engaged, reminding them about yourself. So you use it for your own network. This is a CRM that is dedicated to farming and lead generation. But it does look like a CRM. So it's actually an intelligent data gathering platform and then the automated CRM system. So it kind of looks like I guess traditional CRM in that way.
Do you have campaigns set for specific types of sellers, like 60 plus, people leaving the state, or people that have had a life event, big life event?
Yeah, so the way it works right now, we don't really differentiate. So we submit all the scenarios to AI. Um, um, so AI is looking for everything you just described. So downsizing scenarios. So we have AI to look for, okay, can you see the age of homeowners? If they are 60 plus, live by themselves in a big house and their relatives and family members live somewhere else, that's a potential lead, right? If there are life events, so again, if going through the LinkedIn profiles, we find that someone lost a job or relocated because of the job, we consider it a lead. So we use it, we feed it into AI algorithm, and then when we write an email to that person, we would say, hey, listen, I noticed you've changed jobs recently, and I helped the homeowners in the past like yourself to relocate because of the job change. So I'm happy to discuss opportunities, and I have prospective buyers that are looking at the properties like yours. So that's how it works. So we use that information, feed it into AI, and plus the outreach that would be super relevant to whatever the situation of the homeowner is. But we do not differentiate. So we have this, I know, almost 100 different scenarios that we teach AI and submit into our AI algorithm, and AI just reaches out to everyone. But if your question is like, can we customize the campaign? I mean, we can certainly do that. So if, let's say, you only want to focus on people that are downsizing and do not reach out to anybody else, I think we could implement that custom feature, like just have it as an additional filter. So we're not going to be reaching out, let's say, the people that like probate sales or some divorce situations and things like that. So only gonna be hitting the ones that you care about, for example.
Couple more questions. I know you focus on the farm, but do you have social media capabilities?
Dues are non-refundable.
I'm sorry, Jody, like what could be an example?
Like if if you can do farming and look for different, I guess areas or criteria. I think they're probably wondering if if Kevin AI could set up like a social media campaign of some sort and just kind of launch it.
Yeah. No, that's really, I actually when we started in September, we had that idea of like advertising. Just didn't get to it. But thank you for reminding. It's actually been on our pipeline. I just took it out because I think we need to, there are more imminent priorities like with voicemail and things like that. But that's certainly something that we've been thinking about as well, which could be efficient, is to have especially like Facebook ad campaigns, given the age of homeowners and things like that. So we don't have it at the moment, the answer is, but that's something that's actually been on our priority list, just a little bit, maybe in the future.
Okay. They're still coming in. So if you're
No.
okay with keep answering questions, we'll just keep going if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, we'll do a couple more and then maybe if you've got another part.
Yeah, I would love to finish. Yeah,
Okay, we'll do a couple more. do you have bottom line stats to share? So let's say for a generic 1,000 home farm, how many listing appointments can you set per month?
Yeah, this one is, I would love to share the stat. It's hard, unfortunately. Like we've been live for not so long. Obviously, we have some success stories with our clients where they got real listings. But I still don't have like a solid numbers to say out loud, especially considering the fact that the neighborhoods are so different. So, for example, we've been farming for almost 6 months in Santa Monica, and there are no results because homes are, average value of a home is like $10 million. So it is really, really hard. And like market is so dry, like that, not the velocity is not 3%, but I'm sure it's like less than 1%. Right? While in some other areas where homes are more affordable and closer to like $1 million range, we've had successes where we've generated, let's say, one lead out of when we reached out to 1,000 homeowners. So imagine like we've sent a little bit more than 1,000 emails, so it should be like about 1,500 emails, because a bunch of them bounce back, people don't read them, they get into the junk folder and things like that. So you should send way more, but at least you should, I think the ballpark mass is that at a minimum, you should reach with different forms. So let's say email or physical mail, minimum like 1,500 people, right? To get at least one lead. So that's so far that what we've seen in some of the farms. In some of the farms, I don't even know the numbers yet. Like it's really hard in like expensive neighborhoods of LA, like Beverly Hills or Santa Monica. It's very hard.
Okay.
Hey, Jody, you're on mute. Cannot hear you.
We'll do two more. How can you tell can the prospect tell between the human versus the AI correspondence?
Yeah, good question. So we've been testing it with the agents themselves. So we've shown our handwritten letters to like almost 50 different agents. We've shown emails to them. They cannot differentiate.
Cool. And then the last one, and then we'll move on, is will they get to see this like a demonstration of this so they can see it working?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm gonna show, I mean, obviously I cannot, like, there's some things that I cannot show, like the
Yeah.
email thing and things like that, but I'm happy to just share like an example of the dashboard, for example. Let me see. Where is that sharing button? Oh, here it is. Wait. 1 second. Jody, can you confirm that it's like a lead view that's on? Oh, I cannot hear
Yeah,
you.
you're good.
Okay, perfect. So this is the one thing that we have right now is a dashboard. So we would gather all the information and you could see all the, all the information has been gathered by AI and the history of outreach. So this particular farm is an example that, we use for demonstration purposes. So that's one in Santa Monica, for example. So we have the farm of a size of about 12,000 properties, which is a good size. We've used AI to profile almost 3,000 homes, right, out of this farm. And then we started emailing and reaching out to all the homeowners. So you could see here all the 3,000 homes profiled. Obviously, it's a lot. So you're gonna go through all of them, but I'm just gonna demonstrate how it looks like. So for example, this this is actually, sorry, this is a Bay Area. So this is the, for example, home in Palo Alto. We profiled it in November last year. So we use AI first of all to understand what's with the home itself, right? It's like how big it is, what's the composition of the home, what's the appreciation value. So AI can analyze and make a conclusion that the home actually appreciated a lot in value, so it's been owned It's been last sold in 1999, so now the estimated price is 3.2 million. So obviously there's a lot of equity in this home. AI didn't find any history of renovations and things like that for this particular property. Then the homeowner profile. So we basically try to understand like who the homeowner is, what they do, what their family composition. So in this particular example, AI found that the home is owned by this person. She's 52 years old, married, and then she had her parents who live with her, right? And the parents are elderly, so they're close to 80 years old, right? He works as a design partner at venture capital, and here's what he does. And he has a history of employment with Google and Yahoo in the past, and graduated from Stanford, right? So AI thinks that this is kind of like a medium, so not really high probability to say, but I think the reason here is that, you know, the elderly relatives, like the parents, so maybe they would need some different form of, you know, living facilities or living space. So AI thinks there might be probability of changing this living situation where, you know, elderly parents, for example, being sent to a senior living facility or found a different home or something like that. So that's why it gives it, I guess, the medium likelihood to sell. We sent one email to her. So because she is, so sometimes the AI goes really creative, like in this particular example, because she's Asian American, so AI used I think this is Mandarin. Some of the people on the phone may know better, as the form of saying hi to her, right? And then the email text itself saying, you know, so somebody been driving around Palo Alto, saw the property, that you as an agent worked with buyers who are interested in a property like yours. So single family home with pools and multiple floors. So in my opinion, at least, you know, some of the agents that we work with, they say that this sounds like, you know, I really looked at her property, at her home. I kind of liked it, and I have buyers who are particularly interested in the property like that. The email is actually very simple, pure text. We do not include links or things like that. So the thing is about emails, and that's something that's you know, we spend a lot of time on. Like emails are hard. A lot of them end up in the junk folder. Like if you include a link or any content, usually it'll end up in the junk. So it should be, the reality is like the email to reach the mailbox should be actually as simple as possible. Web links, all the web content, flyers, attachments, everything will catch an eye of the mail providers, and so they'll basically flag your mailbox as spam. We also collect her phone numbers and her emails. And again, this is all from, you know, web search, going online. We found a bunch of email addresses. Now, the reality is when we send this particular email, we only send it to this one email, not to all 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, different ones, 4 or 5 we found. So what happens there as well, we validate emails for bounces as part of our workflow. So the ones that are bounced back or deactivated, we do not use. And that's something that also helps protecting your mailbox from being flagged as a spam, but by mail providers, right? And then we only send the email to the mail, we only send an email to the mailbox that didn't bounce and, you know, seem to be valid, right? So that's one example. I can go to see another one. Yeah, like this one is another property in Palo Alto. Here's a homeowner. Here's what we're able to find, what he does, where he works. That he has an Indian background, and you know, there's some family members that live close by. So that's why this one is actually not like a super high lead, because I guess, you know, one of the reasons people move, what we notice is that their family members live far away. So in this particular example, it's not. But we still send an email. So the reality is like, you know, we've also been testing our AI algorithm, like does it predict the homeowner's likelihood to sell? So right now we try to maximize your chances of success. So we, even if AI says, you know, this is a low likelihood to convert, we'll still reach out. We'll still send an email. it's also like a validation of our own algorithm and see if it works and predicts the outcomes. Yeah, same, the email gets out, and you know, all the email addresses get collected, and the phone numbers. We also have it all I think on the map as well, so you could look all of them. But this is, I think this dashboard is pretty standard in the industry from what we've seen. That's why we put it together quickly. So I know you guys use it for, you know, like title information and things like that. So that's something that we've adopted quickly. Yeah, let me just stop here. So that was like a showcase of the information that we gather and how it looks like. And then there's still some presentation I would like to proceed with, but maybe if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
The only new question that I saw, was you showed the handwritten letters and they want to know, if you can edit that. So like, do you get to see it before it writes it? I guess that's maybe the question.
Yeah, good question, actually. We would for now we've been, so the handwritten feature is something we adopted in the last couple of months. So we've been sharing like a samples with you, but we don't share like every individual mail for approval if that's what you're asking, because it's just too many. But if let's say you say, yeah, you know, I want to have that, I mean, we're happy to share it. I mean, there's no problem. We'll just send you like 200 letters or something, and then you just read each one of them and yeah, correct them or give like comments or anything. I think it's feasible. We just yeah, just a lot of letters, so but it's certainly possible.
So I just had a question that I'll ask. Um, one of the things that I know a lot of people are concerned with right now is fair housing and code of ethics type violations with what AI may write. So I'm just curious if there's something kind of set up so that maybe anything that is written by AI isn't kind of in that area. And if they do see it, that they do have that ability to edit it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that's something that we, you know, I'm always worried about that, to be honest. So I would honestly, we're open to feedback and including any, like right now we include one of our agents requested to include the note saying that, you know, it's not solicitation. Like if you already work with an agent, for example, right? It breach, if a homeowner works with an agent and you reach out to him or her, that's could be a breach of protocol. So sometimes we include the note at the bottom of our email or a handwritten letter saying that's, you know, it's not a solicitation offer if you already work with someone. But I mean, I actually like, that's something where I guess I'm as a software engineer is a little weak. So if, you know, our users have inputs on how to make our tool more compliant, and, you know, additional feedback on how to ensure that we're not breaching any protocols, we're actually open to modifying that. So we can add additional disclosures, I guess, in either form of outreach that you would like to do. Yeah, so that's actually a good thing that you brought it up. Awesome. So now just on the presentation itself. So we talked about the dashboard and all the information that you have at 24/7 access. Now, the other things that, you know, make me excited about as well. So with something that we're working on, we'll want to have like a text notification system. We're also working right now on a chat bot, so you could talk with your data. Because the dashboard is feels a little old school. Like it's obviously very popular in real estate, but that's something that, you know, I as a software engineer like would love to you know, offer some other tools that are available right there in the industries that makes that interaction with the data more like easier and more interactive, right? So we would love to deploy a chatbot as well in the near future. So you could interact with the data because we have access, for example, to MLS data. So you could easily retrieve any relevant information that you're interested in. The other thing that really makes me excited is making a Kevin AI and Kevin as a personality. So in addition to chat, we're also working right now on creating a voice assistant. So imagine you would pick up a phone and call Kevin, and he would tell you all the information that you need to know. So instead of going to the dashboard that we just showed you, Kevin would walk you through like, okay, here's the major leads, here's all the emails that have been sent out. So it'd be mostly like your conversational personal assistant. So that's something that makes me excited about this. You know, the data and the platform that we have is to give you as agents all the tools to interact with the data. Because one of the things that, you know, I'm learning, for example, is that you guys like drive a lot, right? You're on the go. You don't have time to sit and stare at the dashboard or look at the data. So if you have like a chatbot system, or even like a phone call, like a WhatsApp voice call or a landline, the cellular phone call, that could make you interact with the data and with the system much more frequently and efficiently, as opposed to, you know, old school computer-based web interface type of interaction. So that's something that's, you know, big priority for us, is to bring that interaction to the next level, as opposed to the traditional dashboard. But that's something that we're working on as part of our tech stack. Now, what I think in the beginning, somebody asked a question like how we're different from some other tools. I wish I would know more about, you know, what you guys have experience using and used in the past. I know some tools. I think from what I've seen so far, what differentiates us, we're AI native. So we basically started building our technology stack with AI in mind. So there's a lot of companies out there that, you know, added AI in the future when it becomes hyped, but in reality, there's still traditional software. We automate the entire lead generation workflow. So it's not just, you know, another lead generation tool where we give you, I don't know, 30 leads and then you go chase them the way you want. Our idea and vision is actually to make it an automated CRM empowered by AI that does your work for you 24/7. So that's a little bit on autopilot. That's what our vision is. We're a software company, so it's a SaaS product. We don't charge per leads. It's a subscription-based offering. And the reason it is because it, as you've seen, it takes time. And even if I tell you like a certain homeowner is a lead, like let's say he or she's going to list their house next month, the reality is that they're going to choose to list with you. I mean, it may happen, may not happen. So it's really hard to guarantee the outcome, but I think our vision is that we have to do the work, and it has to be done in a repetitive, continuous manner for the results to come. So that's why we came up with the vision of, you know, more like a subscription-based offer where we do the work on a monthly, daily basis for you. Yeah, it's autonomous. It works in the background. We also can constantly innovating ourselves. So we leverage all the major AI models and providers. So we work with, you know, OpenAI, Google models, Llama, Facebook models. We also tested some of the Chinese models like DeepSeek that's been popular. Had some mixed results. So we constantly keep an eye on, you know, what's coming, and then try to use the best AI to for our particular use cases. And you know, all our information is available to you 24/7 and open. So you could look it up online.
I got more questions.
Okay.
Lots more questions if you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead, Jody.
Okay. Well, there's a couple here. Who authored the prompts for the AI tool that was built?
So when you open up.
It's us, our software engineers. So we were the ones that built all the workflow and prompts for AI. So there's all sorts of prompts. So the way to think about Kevin AI is maybe like, you know, there's 90% which is traditional software, and the 10% is AI, and it's embedded in different elements of the system, right? So the AI is that doing the research, AI in that qualifying leads, then AI that is writing emails, AI is that writing handwritten letters, and all those things. So the prompts were built by us. So a lot of testing, trial and error. But that's something that's been, you know, a big part of our effort, is to to do that. Yeah. So it's embedded in our workflow. It's something that's automated. So we as in software, so when you actually interact with AI APIs, there is a notion of a system prompt and a user prompt. So we had to create both of those because a system prompt gives AI the context, and then the user prompt gives AI the actual understanding of what needs to happen. So there's a little bit more complexity under the hood when it comes to actual, programming with AI. But yeah, all the prompts were written by us.
Okay. If you identify a warm prospect, what nurturing programs do you use to build a relationship?
Yeah, good question. I don't think we like. I don't think we looked at it that way necessarily. So we just reach out. So we reach out over email on your behalf, over the physical mail. We'll text that lead, hopefully when the feature becomes available online, we will send a voicemail, and then we repeat the same cycle over again. So we'll send another email as a follow-up in a month. And the good thing about AI is that it keeps history of communication. So for example, when we send a follow-up email, it will write it in a way that, hey, listen, I've sent you an email a month ago, just wanted to check on the status, see if you still potentially might be interested in selling your home. And here's all the information that available and all those things. So the good thing about AI is that it can sync across also different forms of outreach, by the way. So the other thing that we started doing right now is if we send a handwritten note to someone that we sent an email before, we can reference. So we are referencing the other form of outreach. So we'll be like, hey, I've sent you an email like a few weeks ago, just wanted to send a letter and give a little bit more background on, why I'm reaching out and stuff like that. So I guess right now our approach to, nurturing that somebody asked for is more just hit across, try to reach the homeowner with different forms of outreach and do it consistently. So have a round of, there's initial outreach, then there's a follow-up, and then there's a cross-reference. So if you're reaching out via mail or text, it's great to reference that, you've reached out already via email, stuff like that. We see better outcome from that.
If another agent and I farm in the same area and are both using Kevin AI, would the same letter kind of go to the same people and look the same?
Yeah, good question. So because we're small startup, we don't have this problem at the moment, but I still because we're growing fast, I think we obviously will have this problem. So our approach right now that we've adopted, at least as part of our algorithm, so we will separate out the leads. So we will make sure that, for example, we'll give you time like 1 month or 2 months to nurture the lead. If we don't see any outcome, we could pass on that opportunity to another agent that is working in the same area. So yeah, we will obviously, we have a quality check in our software right now that prohibits I know what you're talking about. We don't want different people reaching out to the same homeowner with a bunch of emails and mail and letters and all of that at the same time. So right now we have that separation of concerns where we have this wait period, right? So basically about a month or 2 months, we could customize that too, when we will not let other agents reach out to the same lead, at least using our tools. There's nothing that prohibits you to pick up the phone and call someone. That we cannot control. But at least for the tools that we use, like emails, mails, text messages, we will have the procedure in place to make sure that there's no duplication of efforts. If that's what you're, I think that was the question. Yeah.
So one more question, and then the other one I think you may get into. Who's Kevin?
Yeah, that's funny. So Kevin was our first title rep that we worked with. So this whole concept started with, obviously we talked with Catherine about, you know, the lead generation, and we've talked to a bunch of agents to try to understand, you know, if we heard that it's a significant pain point to get leads, like it's a lifeblood of your business. And then our first title rep that we worked with to understand what title information is available out there and how it looks like, his name was Kevin. So we just decided to call ourselves Kevin AI.
Does Kevin know he has a company named after him?
Yes, he does know. He's
Nice.
our local title rep agent in Santa Monica, Beverly Hills area. So
Very cool.
he knows about that.
Okay. And I think you're gonna get to the other part about cost. I saw you scrolling through, so I'll just
Yeah, of course. So I didn't want to get too much into commercials because I think this is more like educational seminar, but just wanted to just briefly show how it looks like right now. So if you're interested, right, in using our services, our website is askkevin.ai. If you Google search Kevin AI, I think we come up right now on top in our search results. So you could go check it out, see, read more about us, see our pricing details. So just to talk a little bit about pricing at a high level. So we have this like entry package right now that's, you know, we charge $100 a month. And then where, you know, most of our efforts is on running the algorithm and identifying prospective homeowners. Then we have this premium package, which is $4.99 a month, where in addition to doing that, but at a bigger scale, we also do all the forms of outreach. So email, voicemail, you know, text messages, and then we have the mail feature available as an add-on. And then obviously there's some custom solutions and prices that we can discuss. I mean, some of the brokerages been reaching out with a specific request. So they're interested in certain type of the leads or things like that. So that's also up to discussion. I think the major difference between the entry and the premium is that premium, all the outreach is included in the price. Our vision for the entry was that it's just the data. So you get access to the dashboard, you get access to profiles, but then you go ahead and do outreach on your own. As of now, and you know, courtesy of this session, we actually will offer you email outreach for free. So we'll include it in the entry package. So as part of the entry package, we'll do you know, the profiling. You'll have access to 24/7 to the dashboard, and then we also do all the email outreach included as part of that. And then if you're interested in, you know, having the access to other forms of outreach and having the doing it at a bigger scale, so faster, then we have the premium offering. So and then it's billed monthly. You could cancel. There's no like annual commitment or anything. So you could cancel anytime. It's month to month. What's important for us before we get started? So if you sign up for us offerings, right? We'll ask you for your title records. So usually it takes some time, like a week or so, depending on if you are in touch with your title rep and everything. So we really need that input for us to get started. So typically all agents we partner with, they go to the title rep and then they ask them, can you provide me title records for my farm? So usually it looks like an Excel or a CSV files that has all the addresses and the homeowners in your farm. So that's why we know that this is your farm and that's what you want to farm. So, and that will become an entry input into our algorithm. So that's a starting point. So once you sign up, it's something that's, you know, very important for us. So you get it to us, and so we can get started. Also, the email setup takes time as well, maybe like 10 to 14 days. So what we do is email, we'll create your custom domain, then we'll create several mailboxes attached to it. Verification of the domain, setting up all in email it's called SPF, DKIM, all the records, so that your email doesn't bounce with major email providers. That also takes a few days at least. Then we'll also start warming up your mailboxes. So we start with a small number of emails per day, and then we could gradually increase it to a reasonable number. Because what happens is, if you create your own email addresses and start blasting hundreds emails per day from each mailbox, and very soon they will be banned and flagged as spam by major email providers. So that the email setup and verification, that also takes time. But usually the way it works right now, when a new agent signs up, so while you are giving us the title records and all that information from the title rep, in parallel, we'll start the email setup and a warm up, so that by the time we get the data, we can get started on this. Yeah, so that was a little bit on pricing. And then I know we have some time left. So I would just love to touch on, some practical advice for using AI daily, and then maybe we'll add with some Q&A if you guys have any remaining questions. I put this really quick together just to, because I thought, as a software engineer, I obviously work with AI daily, so I probably know a lot more about AI than the average average person, right? So I thought that I may share some of the learnings or some of the things that may be useful for day-to-day use of AI tools. So I will go real quick. So I think one is just use the trusted tools, right? There's a lot of like apps out there on like Apple Store, like different GPTs, AIs, and all those things. Like seriously, like you don't really know what's happening in the background. So somebody like a software engineer could program the tool to give you answers that doesn't exceed 5 sentences because they want to save on costs and things like that. You don't really know what's happening. So just use the trusted tools. Like ChatGPT from OpenAI is best for most day-to-day tasks, right? There's also Perplexity. Not a lot of people familiar with it. Perplexity is kind of a ChatGPT, but could search the web efficiently. So it's a mix of your Google search with the OpenAI ChatGPT functionality. So it could do the search for you and give you an answer. So for example, you're looking at hotel options in Mexico or something like that. So Perplexity could easily do it for you. There's also another one called Cloud, which is it's more for software engineering. So I use it a lot. Don't know if it's useful for you guys. Also, Meta AI has some pretty good tools. I think they released their app recently, so you could try that as well. But I honestly think, ChatGPT should probably be sufficient for most, day-to-day tasks. Another thing is, not a lot of people know, so when you prompt in AI, start with a role. So let's say you're asking a question like a legal advice, or you want to create a marketing campaign. Say at the beginning, assign AI a role. You're a lawyer, you're a marketing assistant, you're someone. That improves the quality of the output, because then from the beginning, AI will contextualize that information and use it to provide a more high quality and the output that actually relevant for your particular case. So assign a role at the beginning. Always start with that when you're prompting in the chatbot, right? There are different models, and I think probably confusing for some people. So when you use ChatGPT, you could select the model that you use. I think GPT-4o is probably good for most tasks, and I think it's probably selected by default right now. There's also a model called O3, which is used for like, a little deeper research. So you may need to wait for the answer to come, sometimes 30, 40 seconds. But it's worth it sometimes when you're, looking for something that, it requires a little bit more complex reasoning. Honestly, my advice would be try a few of them. So let's say you have something you need to do, like draft an email campaign or create a marketing material for your website or something, right? Try one of them, try another one, compare the results, get the best out of it, right? So just a little iteration is helpful. The other thing is be direct. AI is good at understanding commands, as unfortunate as it is. So be like a commander. Instead of saying, can you please write an email for me? Say, write an email. Like, it doesn't care about politeness. So save your space. Don't use words like please and anything. AI doesn't care, like literally. Like, it doesn't help at all. Like, and don't worry about typos as well. Like, AI doesn't care either. Like, AI is really good with, unstructured data. Like typos, anything just doesn't really matter. Like AI is good at transcribing and like understanding what the meaning of the sentence is. So don't waste your time on being polite, on grammar and all the other stuff. Just be super direct, like a commands, bullet points type of asks, right? That's AI is more sufficient. You could feed raw context into AI. So pass data, attach notes, things like that. So give AI context if you want the answer to be more specific. It can analyze your information and provide you more specific output. A few other things. Specify the output format. So let's say you're looking for like a bullet points or a table or just a raw text. Like you could also do that. So just tell AI, I need an output that I can copy paste in my email, right? And then it will make it the way you want it. So the other thing that people seldom do is iterate. So let's say you don't like something about the text that AI generated. It feels a little too, and that's something that we use at Kevin AI, for example, right? So we iterate to make the output. So for example, you feel like the output is too machine like engineered, right? Just tell AI, listen, this feels engineered, write it more like a human. And you'll be amazed that the output will actually be much better. So you get a lot more value from by interacting with AI rather than just giving it like a one-shot prompt and answer. So if you iterate a few times, you'll get much better quality output. The other thing that's a new feature you could see in ChatGPT called Deep Research. I don't know if people tried it, but that's something that's, for example, I used it to find a repair shops for my Volvo in the area where I live. So it did a pretty good job, understanding going through like all the car repair shops, analyzing the reviews and giving me a list of all of them that I need potentially reach out to fix my car issues. So there, AI already has a capability of deep research that you could try. So it usually takes time, could take a few minutes. So for example, you're going on vacation and looking for, all the places you need to visit. Or is in my example, you're looking to fix your car, or you're looking for, I don't know, car rental places, right? You could do that research for you, summarize it, and give you a pretty nice outcome. But it takes some time, so be patient. Obviously, AI make mistakes. I also want to say that when it comes to Kevin AI as well, our AI algorithms do make mistakes. Sometimes they're very painful. Sometimes AI finds that somebody passed away. In reality, the person is still alive. It happened in the past, and I'm sorry for that, but it does happen. So AI is not. I mean, the good thing is that it is right most of the time, but there are still painful instances when it's not right. So be aware of that, right? So if you're using AI to do some contractual work or write some disclosures or things like that, just be aware of the fact that it may make mistake, right? So I mean, also like if you like certain prompts or you find yourself using certain prompts a lot of time, like for writing emails or updating your real estate websites, or I don't know, writing description of the property in MLS or things like that, just save that prompt, right, somewhere. So it just be helpful in the future. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I had for today. So just open it up to Q&A if you guys have any questions left. You could find us at askkevin.ai. Please feel free to send the follow-up questions as well. Our mailbox is hello@askkevin.ai, or you could send it to me at anton@askkevin.ai. So happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right, Dimitri, you have a question.
Well, it's more of a comment than a question, but Anton, you're happy to comment on this as well. So there were some questions about fair housing, about can you review and rewrite certain marketing pieces? I just wanted to share that there are some conversations underway about how AI touching licensed activities such as real estate is going to be regulated. In fact, right before this call, I had an email exchange with the DRE's associate commissioner and general counsel who I talked to in Sacramento. So just keep an eye on this. There might be some guidance. There might be some sort of directions, best practices, and eventually those things probably going to be brought to everybody building any kind of software to incorporate in some way. So just a quick comment, and I would love to hear your thoughts, Anton, as well, because I think where we are going overall is to add additional human safeguard filters, kind of manual. This might kind of or disclaimers, right? Some form of this. So the question to you, Anton, would be: are you kind of thinking and planning for some regulation enter in the space? And what are you thinking about this?
Yeah. No, Dmitry, I think thank you for bringing it up. I'm sure there will be regulation, right? Like, there's a lot of conversations right now about regulating AI technologies in general and AI content. I think people are, yeah, I think that there's a lot of examples of, when, especially when it comes to social media, for example, when you could generate a video that looks like, a realistic, video of someone who never, never said anything, like a politician or something. You could create a completely dangerous scenario. So I think there's definitely a place for regulation, and I'm sure it will happen. And I thank you for bringing it up. I think we would love to be in compliance. Like, for example, we're still a lot of things we would love to do, but we can't. So, for example, robocalls are prohibited, like by regulation. So we technically, there's nothing that's stopping us from from having AI make phone calls for you, and your homeowners would never know if that's AI or not, right? It could sound like a real human, interact and make phone calls on your behalf or somebody else's behalf, but that's prohibited because the robocalls are prohibited, so we cannot do that. But I'm sure there probably will be more regulations as well coming out, and obviously, we're open to staying compliant. But at the same time, we would love to help agents in doing the hard work, so that, and use AI to improve your productivity and efficiency to the extent we can.
Yeah, and I would just emphasize there are all kinds of regulation, but the specific kind of regulation I'm talking about is regulation by the state licensing authorities. They're just starting to look at the implications of AI. They're still not sure what to do about it. They're receiving feedback, they're processing it. And there are also some examples of outright abuse when AI agents are used to perform license activities without a license. So part of the regulation is going to be how to use AI productively in a responsible way that protects consumers. And another way, on another hand, it's going to be figuring out how to stop the bad activities happening.
Makes sense. No, thank you, Dmitry.
Any other questions that anybody has? You're all AI experts. Wonderful. Okay, any final thoughts then, Kevin?
No, Jody, I think this is all good. No, thank you everybody for joining. And yeah, we're excited about the opportunity in real estate. We're a startup, so if you have any questions, please reach out to me personally, or there's a website. We're also a growing startup, so as you saw today, not all the features that we have in our vision are still fully implemented. So if you want to be part of AI journey, feel free to join, and you will see some of the some of the developments becoming online in the near future.